children. When you are born, do you still go out to play with the other kids next door?
We're Dirty Grace.
We are a sassy swing beatboxing heart folk trio.
We've been flirting around with the project for like 4 years now, but this is the first time we've all been on tour together, and this is our first EP release.
Based out of Victoria, BC, although we represent the entirety of Canada in terms of one of us is from the east, one from the middle, one from the west.
What weapons we can be, how beautiful, how ugly. What weapons we can be. Don't listen.
I would describe it as intimate, ritualistic heart folk combined with carnival after hours cheeky swing. Today. Tomorrow I'll say something completely different.
And we will blindly stumble in to some old tavern for some gin. Pour the light into our shoes, then die inside a raspy tune.
We've all been on the road for 2 months out east, so this is the first part of the BC tour.
We've got a lot of energy and we've got a lot of commitment to delivering something we feel is heartfelt.
We didn't quite get the thing to open all the way. One of the many trials and tribulations.
Into these awkward poses.
It's like, yeah, it's the yoga hour.
Pulling into Penticton, we were kind of like, is anyone going to be at this show? It's a big city. We don't really know any Pentictoners.
Voodoo's was a very welcoming environment.
This is my travel go home. In place of a backpack, I just put all my clothes into the drum, save on space, so we have more room for the girls because they like to pack a lot of clothes.
Okay, so that's your monitor, Ryan?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so that's a left and right? Or it's just one?
No, it's all mono.
Oh, okay, so it's just aux one.
Yeah, yeah. And so this is our house system, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's the lower speakers and the bin. So when you want to do your sound check, best thing to do is just turn off the CD. Okay.
Often when we arrive at gigs, it's kind of a mystery about what's gonna be there for us in terms of sound gear.
The sound was a little bit of a nightmare because we had to do it ourselves. It's not even a nightmare. It's like all, mediocre dreams, really. Just cables and cords, and we can deal with it. We've dealt with it before.
We actually were offered a sound person for that show, but we had to pay $50. And I was like, yeah, great, awesome. And the rest of the band was like, no way, $50? Are you crazy? I'm doing the sound. And so, whatever. They're all better at doing sound than I am, so I just let them do it.
1, 2. Jesse needs a mic in his cajon. And then the guitar. So that's 4 instruments, plus the accordion. Okay, count the mandolin already. 5, you need 5 instrument lines, and you need 4 vocal lines.
That's the case. Yeah.
Is there anything else? Sometimes, there's 10 tech guys and 24 channels more than we need, and then sometimes there's only 4 channels, and we just have to get all cozy on one microphone and stuff like that. It's always an adventure.
It was a bit of a panic setting up, but at the same time, we're usually in a slight panic setting up sound gear, so it didn't really feel like too much of a difference.
We're aware that it's going to work out, and we're going to play the show, and it's going to be fine, because we've had so many of these circumstances before.
Being a musician on the road is a lot about learning to be flexible and to roll with what life hands you, and it's not always what you want it to hand you. And the gear is a perfect example of that.
But Ari said we could use his mixer, and he's got 4 vocal channels, and we can plug in the guitar or Mando, and we can use his fancy dancy microphone.
We were so stoked to have a local Ari Neufeld play with us, and he had some beautiful gear that he shared with us.
The monitor is mine. I can control the monitor.
The mixing board was very far away from the stage, so the cords didn't stretch that far. So yeah, I really don't know what we would have done without him.
I could see us daisy chaining our mics out to the soundboard because we were quite harmony-centric. and then just going acoustic with the instruments.
To compensate, we might have had to perform in our underwear just to distract from the fact that you couldn't hear any of the instruments.
Basically, he saved us big time.
Okay.
We got our technical details sorted out, and everything went really well in terms of the sound. It sounded really good in that room, really great.
There weren't that many folks there, but they were quite enthusiastic, and we had some dancing happening, and we felt connected. What I loved about Voodoo's was the diversity of the crowd. There's like a diversity of age and just type of folk.
I think it's easy sometimes to be like, oh, the show was not going to be worthwhile for us because there won't be many people coming out, or we haven't promoted it, or all of these things. But really, like, surprises always happen, and interesting people always show up. And even if hardly anyone shows up, it can be a really magical experience anyway, just for the couple people that are there.
I had absolutely no expectations for the show. We played here a year ago, and there was nobody except Donna.
And Shane Koizen.
And Shane Koizen, of course. So I kind of thought maybe there'll be no one again. Maybe not even Shane Koizen, because we didn't tell him about it. But sure enough, there was quite a few people, and Ari Neufeld, who we played with, was mind-blowingly amazing.
Last night after the show, we had so much fun playing on the sidewalks of Penticton, finding magic in the street lights, finding fun inside of us.
Marley, I would like to skew jig, please.
It's not a jig, but
oh yeah, I forget. What's it called?
I don't think these are good shoes for it.
Yes, they're perfect.
We usually get really hyper after performing. At least I do. I always have like an adrenaline like rush after getting off the stage. And so yeah, we got pretty ridiculous on the sidewalk.
Here we go. Doing dancing.
I grew up doing Irish dancing. It was an Irish reel. It wasn't even a jig, but jig sounds funnier, so we go with that.
There's a lot going on outside the boundaries of the musical project, and I think Marley's jig was a very good example of just how epic our other skills are. I mean, I say that a bit tongue-in-cheek, but it's also, you know, she's really good.
We've got to go to the fire pit now.
We went back and had a campfire and played some music around the fire, and it felt really special and magical, and it turned into, yeah, just an awesome evening that I feel a lot of gratitude for the experience.
I've been waking the dead. I've been waking the dead. Oh, I've been waking the dead.
I feel it's a very primal human experience, and it's where a lot of my inspiration comes from in my music. It's just kind of that tribal feeling of being around the fire and sharing food and drink and sharing music and stories with each other.
My channel that can never overflow. Seems like the change is slow. With the blink of an eye, the sky is falling. How much can your vessel hold? Be bold, be infinite, cross the abyss, open the fist, resist the robot's control.
Beth and I have been working on a side project. We call it Meat Heart. I guess it's kind of an attempt to capture some of those things that we write down in our notebooks in certain moments when we're inspired, and then they don't necessarily all turn into songs, but we're trying to kind of dig some of those things up and put music to them.
Let's go now. Let's go now, 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 now.
it's such a treat for us to like get to hang out and actually jam together when we're on the road, because we spend so much time like in business mode, like rehearsing and performing and planning. So it's like really relaxing to just get to hang out and sing.
I've been waking the day. I've been waking. I've been waking the day. I've been waking.
This is about being on.
This is luxury.
I would
Look
love
at
to
this
compare it to a
carpeted
regular
wing.
evening if I knew what that meant.
This
I don't know
is-
if there's a regular.
This is pretty much medium. Wouldn't you say?
Regular or premium? I'd say this is almost premium.
Verging on premium.
The venue's really special because they put us up in a trailer.
We're so grateful to have this RV all to ourselves and be able to have a good night's sleep.
We feel like really blessed just to have like a roof over our heads and like a bed to sleep in. That's like so awesome because it doesn't happen all the time.
Local tots are the best tots. Yum, yum, yum.
What do you like to do for a good time?
In Kelowna, in the backseat of a car.
No, in general, in life.
For a good time, I enjoy social experimentation. Like poking and prodding and seeing what makes people tick and blush and smile and cry.
Generally, my bandmates and I talk about a lot of stuff and some intense issues. Things are playful and light, and sometimes they're really intense. We're all very interested in kind of the social workings of this existence.
But it's like your body actually goes into like a state of seizing up, like your nervous system is like in a state of paralysis.
When you shake?
No,
Or
when you
you're
go into like
choked?
shock. And the shaking is what like deparalyzes you.
Oh, and like the biokinetic release
Yeah.
is like your mind releasing control of your muscles, and then your muscles actually massaging your nerves, basically.
It's partly why we get along so well and we like each other so much, is because I think we all are interested in exploring like the deeper issues and the deeper meaning of what it means to be alive.
To a lot of people, it would probably be kind of scary. We dissect our own relationships with each other. We like talk about, we challenge each other's belief systems. We like, you know, journey together into what this existence might be about, if anything at all.
I think trauma is when an event affects you negatively afterwards. When you've been affected in a more permanent way by something, so it doesn't leave you once the scenario's gone.
There's a huge spectrum, and we go pretty deep into wondering about life and what it all means, and then there's just a lot of totally nonsensical words that don't mean anything.
She has a stomach ache. She should take some of this.
She wants
Gravel.
to feed me.
Aspartame gravel.
Her deadly
With the disguise of organic ginger.
Because she made a mistake and bought that stupid crap because she didn't read the ingredients. She thought she was having a pleasant ginger chew.
Some of us prefer silence and some of us prefer conversation. So sometimes that can be a source of tension, actually. Too much talking.
Now, 16 years later, Alan's the respect of his elders, the love of his peers, and the adulation of millions of youth.
I hate how much I dream about cops. These dreams are not all my own nightmares. Police presence has become a pervasive force in my subconscious.
Today in the car, we were just like playing this game that was like, you read a line, I read a line, you read a line of different books, and just seeing what the correlations are. Often within the chaos, there's some continuity and there's a thread.
I was getting bored. I didn't like my book. It was boring. So yeah, I thought it was time to do some beatboxing, and Charlie had this really sweet beatnik poetry compilation book, and yeah, I just was inspired.
More or less worth remembering, more or less characteristic of the work of a hospital, etc., depending upon the scenic background of typical occurrences.
Beats always give like a good kind of soundscape for magic. And so the beats start to happen a little bit, everybody gets a little bit more into what they're reading and feels it a little further, then we can make some music together.
Language is very rhythmic, and I can speak in ways that create a rhythm, and don't you know that that happens whenever we want it to, and so we can create these rhythms, and then why not put a so yeah, I guess what you saw there was something that never happened before with us and might never happen again, and it's just a playful little thing that we did.
Like, Marley, why don't you do the first one? Like seeds, we are fed into these holes in the dirt. Like seeds, we are fed into these holes in the dirt.
Like seeds, we are fed into these holes in the dirt.
When you're on the road, you don't have a lot of time to work on music, and working on music is something we want to do.
Now we've been playing the same songs for 2 months. We're really like, okay, it's time to learn new stuff. And so yeah, we definitely like to take advantage of the car rides to learn harmonies, because that's what takes the longest.
Wanted to be, wanted to be, wanted to be, wanted to be. Light inside the harmony. That's where I always ways, yeah.
This is so weird. It's so hard to tell what note you were singing sometimes.
That's where I always. That's where I always wait.
We want to nourish our connection as friends on the road, and so that's a way that we can express it is by like, Beth, let's work on your song. I'm saying to her, like, I really love your song and I appreciate that it exists, and I really want to put energy into making it something extra special.
It just holds that high note. We just hold it.
Well, we didn't that time now, did we?
There's a rule about it.
Roaming aimlessly through the land they call holy. I feel an incredible still. I cannot say. They call it the land of the holy man. I'm doing the very best I can, but still you got to show me.
Beautiful, historic Silverton.
We pulled up to the Silverton Gallery, and there's a huge ramp that crisscrosses like this and this and this, so it takes you about half an hour to get to the door. I think it's kind of an old building, like most buildings in Silverton, so lots of history. I went downstairs to use the bathroom, and I had a funny feeling that there were ghosts down there.
Yeah, it's fine. Okay, and then this is quite central, so they can make eye contact with the audience. This sounds great. I think that's good. And then sometimes she's going to play Mando, where she'll use mic up here. Or I should say accordion. This will be the piano/accordion mic. She'll just have to move it. And so we will plan the songs accordingly. And then she will use my vocal mic when I play piano. That's great. That's just great.
I have played here before, so it felt really nice and familiar to roll up in Silverton.
Okay, Beth has been carrying around this empty cardboard box in our gear bag for, well, what is it, over 4 years now?
My intention was to return that pedal after a month, so I kept the box.
So in the meantime, every night after the show, I put that cardboard box in the gear bag, and I grow new veins in my neck as I like bend and squeeze and try to get the gear bag closed with Beth's empty cardboard box.
I think you two are just rude, and that it's not a big deal. You have attachments to that ridiculous hat, and you have attachment to that scarf around your neck. It's okay to have a box. I will use it. I'm about to go use it.
Mother, teach me how to love again. All I judge different than me. Take the wounded and the ugly
Last night's show felt really magical and connected. I always feel grateful of the crowd, any crowd that is willing to take time out of their space to share with us, because that's what it feels like. We're giving something and they're receiving it, and everybody is necessary for that.
Often we don't have a place to stay because all we've been thinking about all day is like where we're going to play the music, and so we forget to think about where we're going to sleep after. And this was an instance where we had no idea where we were going to sleep. We roll into Silverton. We know where we're going to play, but you know, it's raining, so it's a little bit worrisome.
Last time we played in Silverton, we came and we had no idea where we were staying. And these lovely people, Robin and Jay, came to our show and they're like, "We own all of these cabins, come and stay in them." And so we were kind of hoping that would happen again.
I thought we could maybe just knock on our friends Robin and Jay from Hunter Cabins, their door, just to see. And I said, "Oh, hello." And they said, "Hi." I was like, "You remember me?" They're like, "Yeah, we're getting ready to come to your show." I'm like, "Oh, sweet. Well, how would you like some free tickets and a CD? And would you help us out? We don't have any place to stay. We have a little bit of money maybe." And they're like, "Oh, don't worry about it." And they totally put us up, and it was so kind to have that hospitality in Silverton from these folks that have helped us out before.
Local tots are the best tots, local tots are the best tots, local tots are the best tots, yum, yum, yum.
Oh, thank you.
We went back to the coffee shop of this fellow Matthew who opened for us. He's this incredible guy. He's like a mythic figure.
We went down to the Cup and Saucer, Matthew and Julie's cafe, and it was really fun. Yeah, we sang about local tarts that Matthew offered us and played on his piano, and yeah, it was actually the highlight of the night, I think.
I had an 83-year-old lady come in and run her hands around that post, and she said she used to come here when a British couple owned it back in 1929, and they sold ice cream, and she would wait for an ice cream, and I said, "It's the same floors, love." She goes, "That's beautiful, isn't it?"
The Cup and Saucer coffee shop is a splendid place, my goodness. It has all kinds of its own charm, and Matthew and Julie, who run the place, they're sprightly people.
Post-show, your mind is a bit tired or more quiet and more receptive to moving in directions that maybe are outside of your plans, and so often things can just kind of flow over to a corner where there's an instrument.
I think it's actually really essential for us to spend time like playing together and jamming together and like not taking ourselves so seriously, and I think we've been doing that so far on this tour, and we're going to continue just like to make fun more of a priority.
We are musical beings by nature. I think all of us have always played music since we were little kids. And so we will always play music.